Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership is an environmental nonprofit in central New Jersey. We're dedicated to restoring the Raritan River and the lower Raritan watershed lands. We focus on the degraded lands in central New Jersey and work through environmental education, civic science engagement, and restoration to clean things up and get people involved.
The Raritan River has been contaminated for quite some time now.
Most significant time period of pollutants started with significant industrial development of the area.
The historic industrial use and development of the land in places like New Brunswick, Sayreville, Perth Amboy has resulted in the Raritan being very highly polluted. It's presently still being polluted through issues like stormwater pollution and, more importantly, fecal bacteria from combined sewer overflows.
So the Raritan River is such a special body of water. It is the lifeblood for central New Jersey's habitat, is home to such a diversity of wildlife, is or should be a source for our enjoyment around recreation. It is the source for drinking water for hundreds of thousands of people, and such an important part of the fabric of our natural landscape. The Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership is 100% volunteer run, and the day-to-day engagement with volunteer-run environmental organization is really soup to nuts of everything from fundraising to volunteer management to board management to running the actual projects and programs of the organization. We do all of the outreach, the website management, social media outreach, and general community engagement, as well as our restoration and events like cleanups and outdoor activities, boat trips, and our actual science monitoring and engagement.
During the summer, I lead the pathogens monitoring program with a group of volunteers, and we collect samples along the Raritan River at 6 different sites.
So many activities are underway to try to clean up the pollutants in the lower Raritan. There are monitoring activities to bring attention to the problem. There are efforts to encourage our municipalities to minimize development and to adopt riparian protection measures that minimize the amount of pollutants that flow into our streams and into the Raritan. There are attempts to strengthen our federal and state laws to ensure that our river is as protected as possible, now and into the future. And there are the actions of volunteer organizations like the LRWP and so many folks who come together with us to do the job of cleaning up the waterway, whether that means doing stream cleanups or active restoration and riparian area plantings to restoration of salt marshes. There are just so many folks engaged in trying to fix these problems. When we take groups of people out on the Raritan, we enjoy seeing them experience the natural landscape firsthand, seeing the wildlife, the bird species, the salt marsh. We want them to immerse themselves in the natural habitat that theirs is their right to enjoy, and we want them to understand how connected they are to the landscape so that they will take steps to protect it going forward.
My experience on the boat trip was very memorable. I spent a lot of time working on the Raritan from the shore, and this was an opportunity to see the Raritan from a different perspective, such as being able to appreciate the South Amboy Lighthouse from up close. And apart from being able to learn more about the history of the Raritan, we also got to see all kinds of birds and animals during our trip, so it was definitely a very memorable trip. What I did on that trip was mostly, I was kind of like a passenger, but I also was able to talk about the monitoring locations that we visit. But mostly I was able to just appreciate the Raritan from a different perspective. I don't usually get to go out on a boat or be on the river, but I was able to take the monitoring team that comes out every Thursday, and we were able to use some of the instruments we use for monitoring, and we were able to use it out in the river. So that was a different experience for everyone involved.
In terms of what I wish was different about society that would improve the environment and improve support for cleaning up the Raritan River, I have concerns about how we as a society support caregivers. Cleaning up the river is an act of caregiving, and in the United States, as in much of the Western world, we don't support our caregivers. That's seen as a job for women and is often not valued the way that other types of employment are valued. And if we were to value caregiving and center caregiving, which is really giving attention to others rather than putting attention on ourselves, we would most likely realize a much healthier, cleaner environment in the long run. And in environmental terms, caregiving is really where it's at.
My call to action would be volunteer and join in the restoration of the Raritan.
Cleaning up the Raritan River is really twofold. One, I want folks to understand that it is their responsibility to vote, to speak up when they are aware of issues of pollution. Inaction is also an action, right? And there is a responsibility around just doing the right thing and using voice. So that's the first aspect that I would like to encourage folks to consider. And the second is just get out and enjoy our natural landscape. Understand how you are connected to the natural landscape. Value your spaces because of your personal connection to them.